Hi, I'm Allison Albasi.
And I'm Elaine Fleming.
And this is What the F Do You Taste Like?
Today on this episode, we're going to be working with quinoa. Since Thanksgiving's around the corner, why we want to be working with quinoa is that we want to be making quinoa stuffing. Allison, tell us a little bit about what quinoa is.
So, quinoa is a grain. Quinoa has gained a lot of popularity in the US and Europe. If you've done any homework or you're very familiar with quinoa, you would probably know that it's been a staple in the South American diet for literally thousands of years. They've been eating it in the Andean region of South America, which is Peru, Colombia, Ecuador, at least one other country. So this is something I've noticed even more so now that I live in the Midwest. It's long been a myth that vegetarians cannot get enough protein from plant sources. You can absolutely get protein through plant-based sources and be perfectly healthy. Quinoa doesn't cause heart disease and shit like red meat does.
I will probably have heart disease sometime.
Well, red wine's great for that.
Yay!
Quinoa is high in protein, like I mentioned.
What's protein for?
You need it to build muscle, to do all of those fun things that make you a strong, functional person.
It's also really good for having those protein containers on your counter so that you apparently impress women and make all your friends feel really shitty about how f***ing healthy you are.
People know you work out, so good for you.
I'm looking at you. Douchebag. Fiber's good for pooping.
Poopin'!
Pooping.
Let's talk about poop and food.
Let's talk about poop, baby.
I'm fat, my clothes are falling off in a not good way.
That's a very not sexy song to write. Fat and my clothes are falling off in a not good way.
A not good way. Let's cook this shit.
Tell us what we're doing with the quinoa right now.
Before you cook quinoa, you need to soak it or at least rinse it. The reason is to get rid of this coating on it that makes it taste bitter. I don't know. Oh yeah, you can kind of see it. Really, you just need to give it a good rinse for a couple of minutes. If you have clean hands, you can literally just mix it up with your finger. After rinsing, you definitely want to drain this water off, of course, because it wouldn't do you any good if you use the same water. So you strain it, and then we're gonna boil it.
Should I chop this? I could chop it.
Since the quinoa is going to cook for at least 20 minutes, maybe a little longer, we wouldn't want to cook the celery and onions with it because then they're just going to get really soft and kind of defeat the purpose of adding texture and stop boiling shit. So kind of what we're doing is intentionally trying to recreate a traditional holiday stuffing as far as flavors go. Make it the way you normally would. If you like little tiny pieces of celery, then cut them up smaller.
My grandma always put raisins in hers and it just pissed me off.
That's some crazy shit I would never do.
Some people put like black olives in their stuffing.
Don't even invite me over if you're putting black olives in your stuffing.
I'm getting this kind of like stink eye over here.
They're kind of burning me from here. Yeah, let's get that out of here before.
Let's get that shit.
Crying.
The crying game. Surprise penis. So we boiled the quinoa, put a couple bay leaves in there. Behind door number 2, don't look how dirty my stove is, but we are cooking with coconut oil to saute our celery and onions in.
Wash the bowls. Bow, bow. It's Pono music. Now we cooking! After you soak your quinoa, which we talked about earlier, and then strain it off and put it into fresh water or stock, ideally, your vegetable stock, chicken stock, and then let your quinoa boil. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes. Really what you're going for is, you can see these little curly cues on your quinoa that start to separate from the little pieces when it's cooked properly. You don't want it to be crunchy, that means it's undercooked, and if it's mushy, that means it's overcooked. It's just like when you learned how to cook rice, there is a little bit of trial and error. Give yourself 1 or 2 chances before you serve it to your family.
So after you have your quinoa cooked and your vegetables sauteed, you're just gonna dump your veggies and your gubbins into your quinoa, mix it up, and serve it up, and do salt to taste. What we also did to season the vegetables, a little bit of black pepper, natural organic sea salt that I got in the organic section. Little parsley flakes. You would probably want to do a little bit more of a fresh parsley for garnish. I use ground sage just because it's what I have and I don't feel like spending more money than I should.
The unfortunate part of all of this is that it takes a little bit of effort, which frankly is not something I'm fond of. Also, put your quinoa stuffing on top of a portobello cap because it is delightful.
Like what?
This is really hitting the mark. Like, it tastes like stuffing.
This is the kind of stuffing that you could stuff your face and not feel guilty for.
Ta-da!
If you like this video, then click below, like and subscribe. If you would like to see a particular health food tackled by two Midwesterners that don't know what they're doing, then please tell us what you want us to make.
You should eat this for dinner all the time. Don't wait for Thanksgiving.
Make it today. Make it tomorrow. Make it, unless, like, when you watch this video, then today or tomorrow is Thanksgiving.
I mean, still make it then, but then
Yeah.
also make it the next day.
Yeah.
And the following day.
Yeah.